Hello and welcome. Today we are with Ganta Naveen Babu, famous by his screen name of Nani. Nani is a word of endearment, name of endearment, and he has been very dear to Telugu audiences and audiences who love him for the last 15 years. And now this is your 30th film, Hey Nanna.
30th film, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Hi Nanna means actually Hey Daddy. What is this film about? And you are starring along with Mrunal Thakur and the child star.
So this is actually a love story, and obviously there's a child involved in it. But I'm a big fan of love stories on big screen. In childhood, I remember watching. This used to be like the mainstream cinema, the love stories, and remember Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, those kind of films, where the entire family used to go to the theater and enjoy a lot. And nowadays somehow it has become the violence have become the theatrical experience, and we're just hoping that Hai Nana kind of brings back that kind of energy into the theaters, and it has all of that which is needed, and this is the kind of film which I would have loved to watch in a theater right now. So I'm happy and excited, and the film is releasing on December 7th. So
Okay. So obviously love stories are always evergreen and universal appeal. Any age, I mean, I could be 50 plus, but I still love the love stories. You reminded me of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Here there's a child and it sounds very similar in that sense.
yeah, not story wise, but I
Yes.
think the emotions wise and being wholesome in that way, I think that there's a similar energy in it. Yeah.
Okay, you have always been known as a natural star, but what's fascinating about you, you're the typical Hyderabad boy. Grew up here, born and grew up here. Tell us about your journey, because even without, without having this film backing and suddenly becoming such a big hero, 2008, Ashtachamma.
2008.
And then how did that journey actually happen? Because for all those people who are aspiring to be stars, this person is that ideal.
It's quite actually a funny story. It's not very maybe inspirational is from where I've started my journey, but what happened before was very different. I was really bad at my academics, and I was considered fit for nothing else kind of guy in the family, and even the relatives used to tell my cousins and all, saying that if you don't study well, then you'll become like him. Now it's a different scenario altogether, but I know I was not, I never really got any confidence or that I could be, I could do anything. I was in love with cinema, and all that I used to do was watch cinema and discuss cinema. So I thought, now that anyway anybody doesn't have any expectations on me, might as well do what I love, and that made it easier. Imagine if somebody was believing that I could be something, engineer or a doctor or something, they would have pushed me in that direction, but then they didn't, because they clearly know that I won't be able to handle it. So that was a blessing in disguise. So everybody just let me do what I really love, and for me, when I started my journey in cinema, it was not about achieving something or not. I didn't never had a goal. The goal was to enjoy every single day. The goal was to work, do what I love, and everything else is, I think, the repercussions of it. So
You would sound like the ideal for all those youngsters out there who would say, I would love something and I want to do it, and everyone else calls me, ये तो इसका तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला, kind of a thing. And yet, I think it is that passion, and that that is something that you took with you always when you took to your work, obviously, without the pressure of expectations, you're saying.
I see. I think I genuinely, it might be different for each individual, but I genuinely believe that only way to get anywhere is to, e- enjoy every moment and enjoy the process. And see, when lot of times I have seen people around me, when they have a set goals, they will try to, take all the energies into that direction, and most of the times I feel what we can achieve and our understanding of what we can achieve is very limited, and by just fixing on what we want to achieve, you are actually restricting your own potential. So I feel you do what you love and do your best, and then you will realize where you will reach, rather than you just having a point where you want to reach is not a great idea, I feel. And it worked for me. I never really looked at I want to grow with each film, or where I want it to be, or how much my film how much I wanted my film to be a success, or I never concentrated on any of that. but it kept delivering it. I just enjoyed each of my experience in cinema, and
That's
it just
actually
kept
such a
growing.
wonderfully inspiring thing to say, that you enjoy what you do, don't have any expectations of returns, and whatever happened to you happened. The magic happened.
Because expectations are never, see, it'll never happen according to your plan. Never.
Life is not meant to be like
Never.
that.
Whatever you plan, you might come in front of the mic and tell that this is what I planned for my future. But no, it would have been something different, and it would have ended. It would have took a different way. So when the result is never what you expected, why expect that result? Just give it your best every single day and experience the result and like a surprise. And I think that's more fun, and it's also more organic.
But, you know, considering the journey that you've had, 30 films as lead actor, many of them have been very, very well received. Uh, there is something that you have done which is not just put your heart in it, but what else? I mean, because people will say that unless you have a background in films, you are not going to make it. It's all dominated by the big families which have their scions coming in and occupying that star space.
Yeah, I know people say that, but I think it's a different case altogether. So definitely any business, I think any field, obviously, the next generation comes into that obviously, and there's nothing wrong in it, and there've been so many examples of how people from within the film industry or the star kids or came and failed, and there are a few who really worked. So yeah, it is definitely a little more difficult when you're coming from outside, and just not in the film industry. I think it's any industry. When you're from outside, it'll take a little longer for you to establish yourself. It's you have lesser chances, and it's a little more difficult. But again, the payoff is much more solid than when the way I enjoy success. I don't think any of the star kids get to enjoy the success so much, because they have to give that half credit to the but I can take the full credit. So there is I think advantages and disadvantages and plus and minus in everything. So I will never complain about that. I feel that's and also see me enjoying my work is what is in my hands, and why they liked me so much. I think that's also a little.
The stars were right for you.
Yeah. I have to agree that there's something about me, or I think it made it relatable for them, and everybody when I go out, they really treat me like one in the family. So
Is that why you're also called Nani? Because Nani is something that I know my camera person's wife, he calls her Nani, in fact. So as as something very dear. Is that also something that you thought would work well for you? Because is that what you are called in your family?
there's not much of calculation with that. That's what I'm called since childhood. I think my friends, my cousins, my family, everybody calls me Nani. In fact, how you started this conversation saying my name is Naveen. If you knock the door and say, is Naveen there at my home, they'll get confused, because nobody calls me that, and everybody calls me Nani. And I really believe name is an identity. It's not what is there in the register or anything. What everyone calls you is your name. And for my first film, when I told my director that I want to go with Nani as screen name, he was a little surprised. He said, but it's a pet name, no? You think it's okay? But then I said, that is the name I relate to. That's what everyone calls me. That is when I turn back and see, of course, someone calls me Nani, not when someone calls me Navi. So that's how it started, and I'm also glad. I think that factor is also adding up for how they feel that I am one of their own, because Nani is a very household name, and in every house there is a Nani in the Telugu states. Yeah.
Okay, from there to your journey through 30 films. Obviously, everyone would remember you in Iga, even if you had a small role, but very impactful and someone who left an impact. And I understand that you are also a big fan of Mani Ratnam, but you got to work with the Rajamouli. Aspirations like that. You said you don't plan for anything, but these things happen to you.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mani sir and Kamal sir. I've been telling this in a lot of interviews. And before I become an actor, and I watched films in the Satyam Theatre in Amirpet, and so for me that was all like a dream. And then now, after I become an actor, to see all these people from up close, and to be acting in the films directed by like S.S. Rajamouli garu and such great directors and all, it's still a little, sometimes it still feels like a dream. But after a point, you realize you need to focus on the work, and you can't be really get
In
carried
awe of
away. Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, yeah.
You've had your co-stars have also been very big stars. I mean, your latest also is Kirti Suresh, and
Yeah, yeah.
now you have Mrunal Thakur on your next one. After Sitaramam, I think it's the big other big outing for her.
Yes, I think through my films in last 15 years, most number of debut actresses, most number of actresses debuted in my films, and also so there was always a combination. It all depends on the script and the film. There was I so for
So were
me.
you lucky for those debut stars?
No, definitely, I'm very, very proud, and they're all doing a great work. And then there are occasionally then there's the Kirti, Pallavi, and Mrunal, ones who are already established and proved themselves. So I think those decisions are made mostly, by the scripts and what is right. But I'm very, very happy because I think with the casting, with my films, I think we really got some. I say it was never for the sake of it, or just never for the sake of names or project combination and all that. It was more about who suits the role well. So, and it all worked out. So I'm happy.
In this one, you have a Mrunal Thakur, you have a Jayaram from Kerala, who's a big actor and well-known face, and of course you have the child star. Uh, are films increasingly, whether it is Hai, Nanna or others, becoming very pan-India and pan-world as well?
Yeah, definitely. When you're sourcing a talent, I think it's always been there. Even before we started this, pan India thing, I, from different industries, the actors, technicians, choreographers, used to come and work in Telugu cinema, and from here they used to go and work in Tamil cinema. That was always there, but now I think there's a spotlight on all of that because of this whole, you know, pan India fad, and everybody's been speaking about these things. But it was always there, I feel. Yeah.
So your opportunity to go up north, that is not required. Now that this is a industry which everyone else is looking up to. In many senses, people are looking up to, Chennai cinema or Hyderabad cinema rather than Malayalam cinema, of course, rather than the other way around.
See, I genuinely believe there was never a need to go into any other industry than you wanting to make films
10, 20 years ago, that was a feeling. Oh, you're going up north.
yeah, but I never really say that for storytelling, if you want to make films, then any industry is enough. Every industry is enough. No industry is bigger than any industry, and I'm glad now it's being proved that way, because I remember 10 years back people trying to mix things. If they want to go to Hindi, they wanted to bring in some Hindi actors, and then if they want to release a film in Tamil also, then them joining few Tamil actors and Telugu actors. This used to happen, but now I think everyone realize that you just make a great film, and everyone will appreciate it. No Kantara kind of a film. You don't know. You never saw those actors ever before. All the characters in the
OTT
film,
has
and
done
yeah,
that.
yeah, but nobody cared. People loved the film, and it is an example that it's not about trying to mix in the Tamil so that they will also watch. No, they won't watch it for that.
Acceptability.
They will watch it if it's a great film. And all you need to do is wherever you are, whichever industry you are, try to make a great film, and then it will find its audience. Yeah.
In this particular film, again, I understand it's a debutant writer, director. Is that a matter of choice, or what did you go by when you are making the selection?
I actually a lot of people say that I'm like the mascot of introducing new directors and all that, but that's not what I do it for, or I'm not like on a mission to introduce debut directors, but I just go with the script. I just go with the story, and I listen to all kinds of stories. There are senior filmmakers and there are experienced filmmakers. There are debut directors. All of them pitching stories to me, and I just go by what I hear and what I feel, and what am I and what is the kind of film I want to watch. I genuinely believe I don't look at any story as an actor. I look at I listen to every narration as audience, and I feel most of the audience are like me. And what is the film I would love to watch right now in the theater? I'll go with that film, and it doesn't matter if it has an experienced name or a debutant. Like I believe
Is
in.
the era of big stars, so to speak, whether it's Rajesh Khanna's era, Amitabh or Shah Rukh Khan. Obviously, they're big, but that era is really gone, you think?
Uh, you mean?
Era of big stars dominating the films. Now it's the story is the hero.
Yeah. That I think that era is not gone anywhere, and it will not go anytime soon, and that's a good thing because uh, once in a while we need those star vehicles to pull audience back to the theaters. Now, for example, post COVID, now if the theaters are again booming so much, that's because of this, big star vehicles, and that is the reason they got back all the audience to the theaters where good cinema will thrive, independent cinema will thrive, all kinds of cinema will get its attention because those are very important too. At the same time, um, you can't only have them. You need to have all kinds of films, and yeah, I don't think that will go ever. As long as a theatrical experience is alive, I think star films will work.
You have you have been loved on the small screen as well, hosting a show. How was that experience, and does that take away from a stars? Of course, the biggest of them, whether Amitabh or Shah Rukh, and all the stars down south have also done it. But how does that fit in with your career?
It was a great experience for me, but I just wanted to try it out, and I didn't even know what the show was all about when I started off Big Boss. And I think Big Boss season 2 is one of the most controversial seasons of all time.
Controversial, you're saying with a lot of pride.
And I think that show is supposed to be controversial. That's its USP, and I never planned it, but I did my job well, I guess, because the show got the attention, and then it was the trending topic throughout when that season happened and wherever I went. So it was definitely a great experience. I was like a little shaken, definitely, like looking at this much of, I was never used to that. Wherever I go, that was the only topic. But it was a great experience. It kind of opened me up to the world.
Okay. Now is the era of OTT. You are someone who came from a non-filmy background, made it in the mainstream. Now with OTT, we are finding so much of talent which is not discovered earlier. And also this new phenomenon of whether it is an RR or the South films being discovered. Earlier it was only during a Rahman, Roja that that they said, oh my God, there is this music which can be national. What is changing? What do you see are the big trends? And this worry that you mentioned about audiences not going to the film theaters, is that something that still is going to continue challenges?
Now they are going. I mean they're full back with, I think, double force now after COVID. During COVID they were worried that will the audience who distance themselves from the theaters, will they come back after this whole thing ends, or will this end? There was this confusion then, but now I think that's all completely shattered. All
OTT is not threatening the film
not
theaters?
at all. If anything, it is encouraging. See, how do you see, when you stay in touch with cinema, you love cinema more. OTT is helping you stay in touch with cinema, stay in touch with cinema from different languages, and it is making you understand cinema a little better. It's making you more passionate about cinema.
Appreciate more genre.
Yeah. So that when that happens, then it reflects on theatricals also. So I think they both go hand in hand. Both are important, and OTT is a big plus, I feel, for the whole theatrical business, and it's not a threat at all.
Very often we are now talking about North cinema versus South cinema, and that divide always comes up. Is that actually going, because there is obviously the respect that the South cinema has earned for its technical quality, the kind of discipline that it brings, the content that it brings?
No, first I think that those now it used to be like that, but those conversations are now not as much as before, and there's a quality wise, obviously, see, the more films you see, the more people are understanding that such quality films were always coming in South cinema, but now it is just a fact across the globe, because now more people have access to them now, thanks to OTT. Again, I just hear that this Malayalam film is good, then I go search on OTT and I play. 10-15 years back, I never had an option. I hear that the film is good, but I don't know how to watch it. So I think now everybody is understanding, knowing what kind of cinema we are making, and not that we suddenly woke up and started doing great films. We always did great films, and I genuinely believe 80s, 90s have our greatest classics. We made better films than today, then, and those were the days we didn't have the exposure. So they would never know the kind of films we made. A lot of people now they're watching and appreciating it, which I'm very very happy, and I hope that will push us to make much better quality films.
Okay, coming back to Hi Nanna, tell us about the film itself, and that's a. Are you pitching it in multiple languages?
Yes, Hi Nana is releasing in all the South languages, and the Hindi version is also ready. Whenever it releases on OTT and all that, we are yet to take a decision about the theatrical release of the Hindi version. We were just thinking, now it already has the energy, like I said, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and all of that. Then we wanted to focus on the South languages and all that, and the very quality version of Hindi is also ready. So we just have to take a call on, are we releasing it on 5 languages or are we releasing it only in the South languages is the call we need to take.
And you're touring abroad as well. Now almost many films at least, the NRI audience has become very important.
Yes, 100%. And then now also, now because of the social media and all that, I think their response kind of, see the film releases, so let's say today is the release of the film. So yesterday evening there would have been premieres in the abroad. So they become the first audience who watch the film, and their reviews really matter a lot, because whoever is really looking up for a review on the film, they get their reviews first. So it has kind of become that. And also I think like how Hyderabad has started enjoying the Telugu bands. Okay, I think the US audience also now really started celebrating the Telugu films. Now before, it used to be a few years before, it used to be they used to watch the films at home somehow. Now there are big releases. There actually Telugu films release like Hollywood films.
Is that the effect of a Bahubali, RRR, etc.?
Definitely, and basically the love for cinema is always there with the Telugu audience, and then obviously Rajamouli garu with Bahubali or RRR kind of films, it took it to the next level, the frenzy around the films. And now it's releasing in 1,000 theaters, 500 theaters, 800, like how it releases here. So you can imagine the number of people who want to see the films there in theaters, which is a great sign, I feel. And now when we are doing on even now when it comes to Telugu states, with every film we try to manage one event, maybe a trailer event or something in Telangana, one event in Andhra, because it's all our audience only, right? And when we do that, now it becomes now it's obviously important to say hi to them too, because they're also a big chunk of audience and whose support means a lot. So
okay, best wishes for that then. So December 7 is when you get to see Hi Nanna. Elections all over, families can get together and enjoy the film. In Hyderabad with camera person Nagraju, Sudhir, NDTV.